Another thing that we talked about in the previous episode, which was I think we probably talked about in every episode before, leveling system has been way less grindy, which is, I think you even said it should be like 10 levels, I'm pretty sure. I think you even said exactly what it is, but yeah, the leveling system is no longer like 50 levels per season. It's now 10, which is perfect, exactly how it should be. Just, again, won't repeat ourselves too much, but leveling system, way too boring, way too grindy, just a huge obstacle in the way of doing the fun stuff. And so very good move. Nice to see they're reducing it. As I said before, overhauling and changing the leveling system is probably a very big complicated thing. They didn't even promise that. But in the meantime, 10 levels a season, I think is perfect. I'm very happy with that.
And not only does it mean that it's a little bit less grind and the hardcore dedicated folks can now actually put the game down and don't feel like it needs to be a job, but for those of us who, will play Destiny once in every while and might occasionally revisit it, everything's way more accessible now. You don't need to grind 100 levels of content before you even get to, the hard cap. If you really want to get back into things, you'll just have like 10, maybe 20 levels worth of light differentiating you two, and you're always going to be able to catch up to that like last 10 levels start point for the pinnacle grind very quickly. So yeah, it's really like, this is the other thing too, which I think is so important, is how it prioritizes those returning players, because I mean, Bungie needs to plan for them always, and this is just really proactive design on that front.
Yeah, I think anyone that I know that you maybe used to play Destiny or struggles to get back into it, a lot of the reasons they say is always just they feel like they're behind, they feel like it's too late for them to jump in, and even when they do, they're met with a bunch of changes they don't recognize, and B, a whole bunch of grinding, sometimes old content. It's just it's a very jarring experience. So this will also be very good for the returning players, as you said. Way less of an obstacle, just 10 levels. It's almost like it reminds me of remember all the old expansions. What Dark Below was 2 levels, wasn't it? It was level 30 to level 32.
Yeah.
The Destiny in the original vanilla level cap was 30. It was, and you get to 24 with normal gear, and then you needed raid gear to get to
24 with blues. I want to say 29 or 28. I think
it was 28 maybe.
Standard legendaries.
And then the final 2 levels were VOG.
It had to be raid gear. Had to be VOG,
When there was only one raid, it was just, there was no dungeons, and it was just, there is a raid, the raid, Vault of Glass, that's the only raid. And if you want to get to level 30, which was a huge difference, because obviously it was just a pure level system. It wasn't light. So it was, the Forever 29 was a thing, because the difference between level 29 and level 30 might have been like 5-10% damage or something crazy like that. So it was a huge deal. It makes you, but it's very, it's,
God, what's even more archaic about it was also the fact that it impacted how much damage you took. So if you were stuck at 29, you were forever at that point where you were just dying to everything way more often. Meanwhile, some guy on your team who had better RNG would be at 30, and it's just like, it's not that hard. What's wrong?
Yeah.
What's going on?
And it was pure RNG, because there was no systems in place to ensure that if you needed boots, for example, to be max level, if you have 29 everything or 30 everything and just 29 boots, there was no algorithm trying to get, like now in Destiny, the game can tell when you're missing a slot and it normally gives you one, thankfully, but back in the day there was nothing like that. It was, if you're just missing boots, you could just have no boots forever, and it was purely just RNG based.
Right? It's like grind out VOG, and if you never get the thing you need, I guess you just got to keep eating shit, There's not much to it than that.
It was just, and try and get a Mythoclast. That would be... I
still have nightmares of Oki sitting there being like, this is number 25! Well, I have nothing.
So Oki, one of our original raid team members, because we used to run Vault of Glass just all the time, and I think Oki had 26 Vex Mythoclast before Bife got 1. Bife was the last on our team to get a Mythoclast. It was just a running meme. Again, RNG, there was no protection, but everyone had the Mythoclast. But that was, when did you get it? It was like sometime the following year.
It was just before House of Wolves released, I think.
So how many months was that, do you reckon? Like 6 or 8?
It must have been about 5 or 6 months, I think.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And I remember being so hyped because I made a video like embracing the full meme and practically speaking crying.
I remember it, yeah,
on
going to
mic.
your postmaster.
Yeah. Oh god. So
I remember your reaction, but I think my eardrums still remember it.
I'm still crying.
Classic.
I'm still crying about the Mythoclast. Vogue made people like. It's gonna sound like such a joke, but you know, boys became men in Vogue. It was one of those things of like the loot game really did just sort of. It was something else. Like I don't know if you remember that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna awaken your painful memory. Do you remember the back-to-back Thunderlords from the exotic chest?
What
When
was it?
myself. So
Was I missing that? I wasn't I?
yeah, so you were missing it, and Oki gets to the exotic chest before you or I do, and he pulls a Thunderlord, and you're like, oh man, that's well, you know, I mean, it sucks I didn't grab that because yeah, he needed it too, and so he's celebrating, he's rejoicing, he's like, well, hey man, good job, but I mean, I'm never gonna see it. It's gonna be months before we see another Thunderlord, and then I arrived at the exotic chest and I got one.
Oh, I do remember that.
I remember you just quit. You just
you
quit
see it in
right
the
then
feed,
and
it's just
there,
like
and you're
found
like,
Thunderlord.
alright,
It's like,
I need to
really?
walk away for a sec.
But the thing is, people don't understand just how rare that was. Of the amount of exotics
Right.
in the game, the drop rate of getting exotic from the chest, the odds of that happening was. And what else? I remember there was
25,000 or something.